Hi, everybody. Sorry, I was just getting the camera ready. It's Marjorie Nass, and we are in the Simple Healthy Living group. It's Thursday, April 26th, and today we're going to talk about elbow pain. I had a request from Jana to talk about elbow pain, and I can't really talk about elbow pain without also talking about the wrists and the shoulders, because the elbow is right in between them. So just like in the knee joint, there's a lot of instability in the elbows. And if you are chronically overextending your elbow or locking your elbows, especially if you're bearing weight, it can become an issue. Hi, Jan. And so I'm going to show you a couple of super quick tricks. So I'm going to start as people join, just showing a couple of restorative variations that help to open up the chest. So I want to show you, so when the chest is tight, the arm bone comes forward, and that affects not only the shoulder, but everything that extends from the shoulder, which includes the elbow and the wrist. So if there's a tightness here, if there's a restriction, it affects our breathing, and it affects the alignment of the whole upper body. We talk about the shoulders as being the gates of the upper body. So I have two blocks here. If you don't have blocks, I'm going to show you another alternative, but I highly recommend you get a couple blocks. You can get them anywhere. You can get them at Target now. You can get them online. So I'm going to have one block at the middle height, and I'm going to have the other block at the highest height. And the block at the middle height is going to go right underneath my shoulder blades. So I'm going to sit with my knees bent and my hands on either side of the block. And I'm very gently going to lower myself, and I can see I have to move back a little bit. And you can see the block is right at my shoulder blades. And then I'm going to put my elbows down and just start to lower my head. Now this was at the exact right spot, but if yours isn't, you can move the block back or forward. And then you're just going to start to turn your palms to face up. Move the blanket out of the way. So I'm getting all this nice extension across the chest. You can keep your knees bent and your feet on the floor. You can also straighten your legs like this. Whatever's comfortable for you in your low back. You can also bring the soles of the feet together. But the support here underneath my shoulder blades allows for this nice opening across the chest. So it's not just about, we are going to address the elbow joint, but I want to give you guys something that you can do super easy just to get that circulation going. So this is variation one. The next variation is very similar, but you can use a blanket or a towel. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about your fall. That's so difficult. I do hope these will help you too, and they're super, super gentle. So you're going to take your blanket, and I'll scoot back, and you're going to make it into a little roll like this. And for you, if you're a little tighter across the chest, just a couple rolls might be good. And this is going to go, once again, it's going to go underneath my shoulder blades. So the blanket's here. I'm going to put my hands down. Be mindful if your elbows are hurting you. You're going to very gently lower yourself down so that the blanket roll is right at your shoulder blades. And then you're going to lower yourself back. And in some ways, this is a deeper opening than the one with the blocks. If it feels like too much, come back up slowly, make a little bit lower. And if you want to feel a little bit more, you'll feel it in the chest. Now, what you want to avoid, you don't want your shoulders off the mat. You don't want your elbows off the mat. You want a place where you can lie back and really receive that stretch across the chest. Okay? So that's number two. Okay. So the next one we're going to look at is holding the block, okay? So you're holding the block with your fingertips, and you're going to take your elbows at 90 degrees, okay? And you're going to push the hands into the block as you gently lift the elbows up. So the pushing of the hands into the block is key here because it's going to activate the muscles of the bicep. So you're simply going to lift it up and lift it down or lower it down. Inhale, lift, and exhale. And we're going to do that same thing on the back now. So I'm holding the block. My fingertips are over the top of the block. I'm pressing in with my hands. You want to feel your bicep. That's the muscle above the elbow. You want to feel that engage because that's going to create the stability in the elbow joint as we slowly bend the elbows to 90, maybe a little bit past 90, and then up. So you're creating an engagement of the forearm muscles and the muscles of the bicep as you bend and straighten. And you can see how precise this movement is. My head's in line with my spine. I'm engaging the muscles of the upper back. I'm stabilizing the elbows. Good, so you can do 3 or 4 of those and then relax. And then you're going to take your arms out to the sides. So we're doing a bunch of stuff on the back. When you're lying on your back, the hands are going to be like this. And then we're going to take the knees from side to side. And what that does is it engages the upper back muscles, okay? So go ahead and lie on your back. Your elbows are out in the T. You're going to lift your knees up. Now, this is not about getting the knees all the way over to one side. It's about engaging the back muscles and strengthening the back as you open up the front of the body. And that's going to help support that elbow joint. Deep breath in. You're going to drop your knees only as far to one side as you can keep the opposite elbow down. So if your elbow and your shoulder are coming up here, you're only going to go, a half an inch maybe. That's fine. Inhale, center, and take it over to the other side. You can see how my legs are at 90 degrees here. So my feet aren't up here. My knees aren't relaxed. My heels aren't relaxed. I'm really keeping the muscles of the legs engaged as well. I'm pressing the backs of the hands down. The upper back is engaged, and I'm keeping my chest nice and open. So I'm going to do that a couple more times on each side, making sure the shoulder and the elbow come down. I remember when I had my shoulder injury, I couldn't even go over a half an inch. And now I can keep that shoulder blade down and go almost all the way to the side. But everybody is different. So again, all of these poses are valuable for anybody who has any kind of shoulder or wrist issue, which I have covered in the past. How often should you do this? So these drills, see how you feel. Start by doing it once and see how you feel. You can certainly do it a couple of times a day. Start really slowly, especially if you have an injury. And of course, you want to check with your doctor if you've seen a doctor about your fall. I've used these with many, many students over the years. I've been teaching yoga for 17 years, and I've used them on myself. Okay, so here's the next one. Now, if you're having pain when you put your hands down onto the floor, this one might not be for you. But it's a really good one to stabilize. So if you're like me and you have locked elbows, this puts a tremendous amount of pressure on the joint of the shoulder and of the wrist. So when I lock my elbows like this actually hurts my wrist. So what I'm going to show you to do is see how I bend my elbows out to the side. I'm going to bend my elbows out to the side, and then I'm going to push my hands in energetically. So this isn't a locked wrist. This is a locked elbow, where the energy is blocked. So there's no energy going up and down in the way that it should, and it's very unstable. So if you're somebody who's been doing, and I'll show you this in the wall in a moment, but if you're somebody who does dog pose with your elbows bent, with your elbows locked, not a good idea. Press your hands together to engage the muscles of the upper arms. So a lot of people say to me, where should my elbows face? Should they face forward? Should they face in? The answer is when you're pushing your hands together energetically, that's where your elbows should face. So it's a little bit more on a diagonal, but I'm working a lot. I'm getting hot doing this. Pushing my hands together. You can see how my elbows are not locked. And even if I try, I can't bend the elbows because the muscles around, above and below the elbow are engaged. Okay, you can do that same thing with the elbows out to the side. So again, you can see I have a hyperextension. My wrist is a little bit below my elbow. It's greater than 180 degrees. It's genetic, it's hereditary. But when I pull energy from my hands in towards my shoulder, then my elbows don't lock. And that's a little bit harder to see. It's a little more refined. If you don't get this, don't worry about it. I just wanted to show you. So you're engaging the muscles from the fingertips all the way in towards the shoulder blades, okay? And slowly release. And breathing. So I said I would show you that other one at the wall. And this is great for anybody who cannot bear weight. So I'm gonna go over to the wall and see how this looks. My hands are at the wall, they're shoulder width apart, and just like we did at the floor before, I'm gonna bend my elbows a little bit and push the hands together energetically. So my hands are at the same height as my shoulder. I'm gonna bend the elbows, and as though I'm trying to pull my hands together, as though I'm trying to push them together, the muscles of the upper arms engage, and this creates stability around the elbow joint. It's going to take a couple breaths here. Working hard, pushing those hands together, engaging the muscles of the upper arms and the forearms. So now one more. You're going to take your hands. Maybe I'll turn the camera a little bit. There we go. So I'm standing at the wall, I'm bending my hands and my elbows right to the same height. So the hand, the wrist, and the elbow are at the same height. I'm looking straight forward, and I'm gonna pull my hands down energetically to lift my chest. The shoulders move on the back. I'm pushing down through my hands, and again, I'm stretching out the chest and engaging the upper back muscles. So there's no pressure on the elbow here. We're using this pose to strengthen the upper back, which is going to support that elbow inflammation, support the function of the elbow. Just breathing here, mindfully aware of how you're holding yourself. And slowly release. So I just want to say that if you're somebody who's at the computer a lot, and this kind of thing is happening, this is all going to affect the elbow as well. All right. So keeping a healthy alignment of the shoulders is really key to that elbow health. I'm just going to check and see if there are any other questions. Thumbs up from Jan. We got Jan and Jana here. Jana, you were the one who had requested this, so I'm wondering how you're feeling, if any of this is familiar to you. If you would please let us know if you try it and how it feels. All right. I hope this is helpful, you guys. I would love to know other areas that you would like to see us cover. And if any of this is helping, you know, there are so many things. Yeah, I'm glad, Jana. There are so many factors that go into how you can relieve your joint pain. Alignment is really just one part. And the wellness side of yoga is called Ayurveda, and the word just means science of life or knowledge of life. It really teaches how to live in a body. And there are so many other factors in helping to relieve our joint pain. So if this is something you would like to learn more about, please take a moment to fill out a form about your pain, and if I think I can help you, I'll send you a little scheduler so we can jump on the phone to chat, and I can tell you more about some of the upcoming programs that I have. I have group programs, individual programs, and all this can be done virtually. I also have a retreat coming up in Costa Rica in January. It's already half full, and that is a great way to immerse yourself into these teachings. So I appreciate all of you for being here. I'll post the discovery session form in the comments below, and I hope to see you guys next week. I'm going to be in Utah, in Ivins, Utah at Red Mountain Retreat Center, teaching my pal Jenny Livitz for the Ignite Your Wellbeing, Elevate Your Style retreat. So I might be at a slightly different time next week. I'm not quite sure, but stay tuned and I will let you know. Thanks, everybody. Sleep. Yes, sleep is a huge component. And for those of you that have been getting emails from me after signing up, you know how important sleep is. And it may be the most important thing. So yes, if you are noticing that you're experiencing a lot of joint pain, see what you can do about your sleep. And all of my programs have lots of tips and routines and steps that will help you with that. So thanks, Jana. I'll see you guys soon. Thanks so much.